Welcome back, listeners, and thanks again for tuning in to another edition of Interventions and Detentions. I'm your host, Brad. This week I've learned something, and maybe I should start out by saying it is Thanksgiving morning, getting ready to gear up for some good food and family today and friends. But I've learned some things this week thinking about generosity. Generosity doesn't always come from, those big grand gestures. Sometimes it's just a handwritten note, or it's giving your teachers 30 quiet minutes to breathe. Sometimes it's a kindergarten student who hands you a turkey drawn with, 7 legs, I think I counted, and says, "This one's for you, Mr. T." So let's talk about gratitude. Let's talk about generosity and how schools are held together by people who show up every single day. And I'm so blessed to have a staff just like that. So don't forget, this is Interventions and Detentions, where the real learning begins. Let's jump into gratitude, generosity, 2 things that feel extra important during this Thanksgiving time, this Thanksgiving day, especially in a building full of kindergarten, first grade students who think, glue sticks are currency, and hugs are handshake alternatives. Love the hugs. So let's talk about how gratitude shows up in schools and what it does for the school culture and why generosity, and I'm talking real, intentional, authentic generosity, can change the climate of a building faster than any other program or initiative that's out there. And I'll be real. I got a couple things that I did this week that reminded me why I love the job that I do. So let's just jump in. Here's the thing about gratitude. We talk about it every year around this time, but in schools, it's not just seasonal. It's really survival. We need to be gracious and have gratitude all the time because gratitude is like fuel. It's the glue. Gratitude's sometimes the only thing standing between a teacher and a meltdown at about 9:07 a.m. Kindergartners don't just test our patience, they stretch it like taffy sometimes. And first graders, well, if you want to know what true confidence looks like, watch a first grader walk into a room knowing nothing about long vowels, at least not yet, but fully believing that they should be teaching the class. We've got a few of those in our building, and they make it a very awesome day. And we, the adults, need to feel seen, appreciated, and noticed, even though we won't admit that a lot of times. And that's why generosity comes where it comes in and why it's so important. It's not the, buy everyone a Starbucks card version, but it's more like the I see you and you matter version. And that's what I want my teachers always to feel like, my staff, my teachers, that they're seen and I see what they do and I value what they do. And, I guess I want to dedicate this episode today to the folks at Central Noble Primary for just being so appreciative of all the things that they do to make my day-to-day a lot easier. So I'll share a couple of things that I did this week, not because I want a medal or, a pat on the back, but because they reminded me that it's the simple ideas that have the biggest impact and things that don't cost a lot of money or really anything more than time. So one thing I did, I actually did it last week, Friday before I left school, kind of leading into this 2-day week that we had for Thanksgiving week. I left teachers and staff just these little simple personalized notes, not generic, like, hey, thanks for all that you do kind of stuff. I picked some specific traits and personality strengths that they have and told them exactly how that quality makes them in our school stronger. Like, your calm presence makes your students feel safe, or, you advocate relentlessly. Your kids have the champion that they deserve behind them. Or, I love how you bring humor into hard moments and it shifts the whole hallway feelings, things like that. People deserve to know the impact that they have on a day-to-day basis. And it's wild how many staff members told me that they're going to keep that note. They're going to put it in their drawer, or they taped it to their computer screen because someone needed to tell them that they matter. And I forget to do that not enough sometimes. We get busy, and, I always feel like I'm a pretty gracious and generous guy when it comes to letting people know how important they are to me, how I feel about them. I'm a big woo kind of guy. Just ask Sherry. Shout out to Sherry. But, as much as I try to do that, it's never enough, I don't think, because really when it comes down to it, people just want to know those things. They want to be told that they're appreciated, they're loved, and that they matter. A second thing that I did with the help of my awesome school counselor, Kristen Alexander, shout out to Kristen, is just give the gift of some time. And it was pretty easy to do it. It took our time, but it was our gift of time to our teachers. So we teamed up together and kind of tag team some coverage. We just told the teachers, like, hey, we're taking your kids for an extra half hour on one end or the other of their special. So they actually got about an hour to do whatever it was they wanted to do. There was no agenda. You're not going to have MTSS meetings or data to review. There's no pressure. There's nothing. Sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Just take these 30 minutes extra that you get, and we've got your kids. To me, that's real generosity. It's time that's most valuable. It's a valuable thing that we have in school that we don't have enough of. And when you hand it back to your teachers, I feel like you're saying, hey, I trust you. I respect you. You deserve this. It's not much, but it's something. So run with it and do whatever it is you want to do. I know some teachers went and made copies. Some teachers just sat and drank coffee. Some actually kind of turned the lights out, I think, and just enjoyed the quietness for a little bit. It was a small gesture, but I do think it helps culture. And I could feel like almost a sense of relief in some of the teachers when they're like, oh, okay, I got 30 minutes just to do what I want to do. Yes, you do, ma'am. So enjoy it. Let's talk a little bit about gratitude for kids. I mean, we focused on generosity and gratitude for this month of November. We have Cougar Pride life skills. So each month we take a letter of Cougar Pride and we tie it to a life skill. So we're on G, and I've always liked generosity, but we also have been tying in gratitude with it and talking to our kids about what gratitude looks like. You know, because we've talked in episodes, a couple episodes back, kids are mirrors and they watch how adults treat each other and they absorb it. They take that all in. So modeling gratitude teaches kids empathy without ever having to really schedule a lesson for it. If we just do it ourselves, and I know it gets hard as adults and teachers and staff because we get bogged down with the stuff, you know, and we're a family and families don't always get along. So it's easy for us to be upset about something or not agree about something and not let those things show in front of the kids. And that's the hardest thing, I think, a lot of times for grown-ups in our building and teachers is, I don't want to say masking those feelings that maybe we have for each other sometimes, because again, we don't always get along, and that's what makes us a strong family. But you know, we have to have that empathy and show that to the kids so they can see it in action, on purpose. When students see adults appreciating each other, it builds a lot of things. It builds security, it builds belonging, cooperation, and it also builds perspective. And, you know, listen, kids are naturally generous. Think about how many times they just want to share things and, you know, they'll hand you the last half of a Pop-Tart or an Oreo like it's their most prized possession, but they'll give it to you. I'll go into the lunchroom all the time, and especially like kids that pack their lunch. I'm like, oh, what did you bring me today? And they'll reach right in and grab their fruit snacks or their, granola bar, whatever it is, and they'll just hand it off to you. They'll make you that turkey drawing with 17 feathers and 7 legs and write your name on it with, 2 N's instead of 2 T's. Just because they think you deserve the extra letters, I guess. You know, when kids see gratitude, they imitate it, they model it, they mirror it. And when they imitate it, they internalize it. That's character building when it comes down to it. And that's part of our job as teachers. I mean, I know we're supposed to teach them to read and write and add and subtract. And I know a lot of people don't think that teaching them character is part of our job, but it innately is. And we're trying to make not only smart kids, but just really good human beings and good citizens. So yeah, we do teach character, whether we purposely do it or not. We do it in how we act and how we model it to our kids. So from my perspective, I feel like administrators sometimes fall into that trap of thinking our job is to just be the fixer. I'm super guilty of that, whether it's at home or school. I'm always trying to fix things. So technically, yes, it's our job, but also no, because our job is to cultivate climate. At least part of our job is. And we've got a lot of hats. I got a lot of hats. Let me tell you, I could sit here and do 3 episodes on all the different hats I've got this year. But I do think, building a good culture and maintaining that culture, because again, it's like a family culture. Like I said, we work as moms and dads in our homes trying to keep a good positive culture. So we do the same thing in our buildings as administrators. We use gratitude as that lever to build leverage, and generosity is another strategy that you throw in there. And both, if you think about it, they're really completely free. I mean, yeah, we can buy things to be generous, but giving the gift of time for our teachers, that didn't cost a thing other than some of my time, and I had it, so I was going to give it back to them. What happens when leaders practice this generosity on a day-to-day basis? Well, I feel like it gives you several things. It gives teachers a chance to decompress instead of stacking up the stress. It gives staff time to collaborate instead of being isolated. It gives culture shifts towards positivity. And at the end of the day, the kids, when they see what's happening, they feel the difference as well, because I guess, teachers are going to be happier when they're feeling a little more appreciated and be giving those gifts of time and praise and, gratitude, things like that. It's going to trickle down to the kids. So it isn't fluff. This is just leadership, in my opinion. And it's not Mr. T trying to blow his own horn. I'm saying for anybody that does these things, that's good leadership. It's the kind of leadership that people will remember, not because it's fancy, because it's human. It's coming from the heart. It's heartfelt, it's meant, it's with emotion and feeling. So how staff can practice gratitude? Let's talk about that for a minute. One of the best things about this week, this Thanksgiving week, is how it gives permission for everyone in the building, teachers, staff, families, to name what they appreciate. What is it that you're thankful for? Here's what I always tell people in my building. Things like, tell your buddy next door something that you admire about them. Tell a student what you appreciate that they bring to your classroom. Tell yourself that you're doing better than you give yourself credit for. Gratitude doesn't just lift the people around you. It resets you. You've got to give yourself some love sometimes and some praise. Think about that. Give yourself some love, give yourself some praise, and tell yourself you're doing a good job. You're doing better than you give yourself credit for. It does reset you, and everybody needs a reset every once in a while. This is going to be a very short episode today. It's Thanksgiving week. I was almost going to take the week off, and I'm like, why don't we do something on gratitude and generosity? So that's what we've been talking about today, highlighting a couple of the things that have been happening in our building surrounding those two key life skills. So as we head into Thanksgiving today, and I know this episode won't come out until after Thanksgiving. It'll drop tomorrow, just like always, on Friday morning. I still want everyone to listen and remember a couple things. Here we go. Generosity doesn't have to be massive, and it doesn't have to cost a lot of money. It just has to be intentional, from the heart, from the feelings, from your feelings. I love that. You don't need to bring donuts all the time, though we love donuts. We love pizza. We love food, all those things. But you don't have to do those things. You don't have to buy gift cards. You don't need a Pinterest-worthy staff treat chart. You need moments. Build those moments, memories and moments. Staff need your presence, administrators. They need you to be present. They need you to be there for them. They need to see you. They need to hear you. They need to feel you. You need to have the courage to say what's true. I see you, teacher. You matter to me, teacher. This place works because of you. I'm a better administrator because of you. You're helping me be the best principal I can be. And for everyone out there at my school, at Central Noble Primary, if you're listening, our little building full of kindergarten and first graders, from my heart, thank you. You've made this place feel like my home. I love coming to work every day. I know that we're on the heels of some very tough times and decisions that are happening around us right now, but yet you show up every single day and you do what is best for our kids and our building and our community, and I thank you for that. Thank you, Central Noble Primary teachers, staff, students, parents, family, community. We love you. Mr. T loves you. So thanks for hanging out with me very briefly on this Thanksgiving morning. I appreciate you all tuning into Interventions and Detentions each week. We've got some more guests lined up coming up in the very near future. Dave Nagel talking about grading and reporting. We touched base with him this week to kind of get him on the board. Justine Gonzalez to talk about culture. We got fellow local colleague Andrew Baran from Lakeland Intermediate School, first year true principal seat. I want to hear about how things are going for him in my old building. So we got lots of things coming up on the horizon. Trying to talk Sherry into jumping into a podcast of just her and I, separate from this one. So who knows? There's lots of things going on in the world of Mr. T right now. So you never know what's going to happen next. Remember, new episodes drop every Friday. Make sure you follow, share, leave reviews on our social media posts. Again, they drop every morning around 8 a.m. on pretty much any platform that you listen to your podcast to. So thanks for tuning in again. I enjoy doing this. I enjoy getting the feedback. So please tell me topics you want to hear. Just let's interact. Let's hear what you got to say. Remember, it's Interventions and Detentions. This is where the real learning begins. Happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Take care of yourselves. Take care of your people. Take care of your tribe. And I'll see you next time. Take care. Happy Thanksgiving.